Coming up on the show today, we have Charles Barkley. He is the ambassador for race relations.
Yes, he
somehow, some way.
Yes, somehow, some way. I tell you, she's the ambassador for good acting, great acting. Aduba will join us to talk about her third Emmy nomination.
What else we got?
We have lots of wonderful, awesome conversation.
That's a keeper.
That is a keeper.
I don't think we got anything.
Is our show making you sick? It's like that?
COVID! You were a big fan of Orange is the New Black.
One of my favorite shows of the last decade. Because the role that she plays, Suzanne, AKA Crazy Eyes, is you have a woman struggling with mental health, but there's also an innocence about her. Plus, the light that it sheds on being a female prisoner.
We don't see too many nuanced roles about women who are in prison. What's interesting to me is her range. Shirley Chisholm, Mrs. America, I just believed her.
Our first guest has already won 2 Emmys, and now Aduba is in line for her third for her groundbreaking role as Shirley Chisholm on the FX miniseries Mrs. America. Here is Uzo being fabulous.
In this country, everybody is supposed to be able to run for president, but that has never really been true. Somebody had to do it first. So I did it. I did it because I was the only one who had the audacity to shake this system up.
As I mentioned, Uzo, you already have 2 Emmys. You're in line for a third. Can you save some Emmys for somebody else? My goodness. No, it's just a testament to the wonderful work that you have given us. But this role in particular, I'm sure it has to hit differently. You have Kamala Harris now nominated as the vice president. Does it hit differently for you having played Shirley Chisholm in light of what's happening in real life?
It does hit differently because, you know, when you have spent so much time seeing what her fight and the mountain that she had to climb up looked like, and then realize in context that it's been just shy of 50 years since anyone else has ever done it again. And, you know, that's a long time to really start to think, well, is this ever going to happen again? Was that one singular historic moment that occurred? But it feels good to know that it's happened again. And you also understand what it took for Senator Kamala Harris to arrive at that. That's not space being given easily.
There was a time in which I hear that you thought, maybe this isn't what I'm going to be doing. And here you are rewarded in the best way, consistently rewarded for your excellence. Talk about why you thought maybe acting wasn't where you would land.
Yeah, you know, Cari, it was because I, quite frankly, hadn't seen myself holding space on screen. And, you know, you can come to someone's house for dinner, but it always feels better when you've been invited and you're not made to feel like you're crashing, or, you know, when you're not welcome somewhere. We can all feel that. And it did not seem as though someone like myself was welcome to the table.
Well, when you got your seat at the table, you played one of the more iconic television characters that we've seen, playing Suzanne, Crazy Eyes on Orange is the New Black. What was it about her character that you think really drew people in?
What I love so much about Suzanne, Crazy Eyes Warren, was her truth. She was herself, for better or for worse, take it or leave it. She was herself. That was powerful when somebody's just totally honest, innocent, open. Definitely my mom was watching TV upstairs.
I was like, do we need to call 911? Are you okay?
I'm like, blink twice, Uzo, if you need help.
Uzo, we will be there in the white van.
I literally was like, what is that? Like the TV. She's watching fried green tomatoes.
Okay, so since we're having fun here, we're gonna play a game called Do's and Don'ts. Do's and don'ts is basically a game where you give advice to people such as myself or our viewers who do things that could be considered reckless, career damaging, but you give us advice
Yes.
on what we should and should not do.
You're the voice of reason right
You're
here.
the voice of reason. All right,
Okay.
so
Got it.
slide into DMs. Do or don't?
Don't slide into the DM unless you're ready to see it on radar.
Okay. Right.
So you're telling me, Uzo, that sliding into Chris Evans' DMs was a don't. It's been done, but it's a don't, is what you're saying. Okay, noted.
That's what I'm saying.
Noted.
More importantly, you got anybody sliding into your DM?
Ooh,
that we need to know
give us some
Sorry, the connection went weird. The connection, I lost.
about? Oh, all of a sudden it's fuzzy.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't say all that now.
Okay. I got another one for you, Uzo, the life coach. Do or don't post a thirst trap. LeBron James, he's on a exercise bike. He has nothing but biker shorts on. He's reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and he's trying to encourage reading,
I think
but yet
that's fine.
showing all the skin.
Do.
Is this a do or don't?
It is a do.
To post a thirst trap.
Do post a thirst trap if you're doing it for the children.
So because
was
she-
trying to
because he's
educate
encouraging-
the children.
yeah, he's-
We know he built a school. We know we already know he's always doing it for the children.
All right, LeBron is doing this for the children.
Uh-huh.
My illustrious co-host
Oh.
also loves to post thirst traps, okay? I don't think this photo, she's doing it for the kids, all right?
I am doing it for the young brown girls who are looking for a man, and perhaps they want the man to know what they're working with.
And
Uzo.
also maybe letting them know, also, perhaps dream big.
Hey,
Children.
Hey!
Children.
hey, Uzo.
Uzo, I'm not here for you.
Oh, hey!
I'm just,
Hey, Uzo. Do it for the kids.
But
No,
that's okay.
if you stay in school,
That's okay.
you too can look like this on a boat.
I don't
Green,
encourage
green.
this foolishness. I
Fine.
just want you to know.
Fine. You want to tell Uzo thank you for joining
I
us?
do. Well, Uzo, thank you so much for joining us. You're a wonderful person, a great
Inside and
actress,
out.
all of that, great sense of humor. I'm so pleased that
Thank
you
you,
joined Stick to Sports. So
Uzo.
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you,
Uzo.
ladies. Thank you, ladies. And I love to see it. I love to see it.
Listen.
And we love to receive.
I
it.
love
And we love to see it and receive it. Go Brown.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh,
High
my
fives.
Oh,
Indeed.
thank you. All right, boys and girls, we introduced this segment to you last week. We're going to explain it again for those who might be joining us for the first time. This segment is called Fuck Outta Here. All right, so who do we have for FOH, Cari?
Okay, so this is a conversation I have had with every single one of my girlfriends, and now I will have it with you all. It's about Meg Thee Stallion. So Meg Thee Stallion alleges Tory Lanez, we don't know if he's her boyfriend or not, shot her. And this has been happening for some time. They were at a party, allegedly, Kylie Jenner's house. They were coming back from the party. An argument ensued while they were in the truck, and for some reason, she was shot in the foot. Tory Lanez has been suspiciously silent through all of this. But most recently, he did what, Jay?
Yeah, he liked the Instagram post, allegedly. Basically, it pretty much blamed Meg Thee Stallion for her own shooting. And Tory Lanez liked that post. And it was really sad because the reason she went to IG Live to explain what happened, according to her, Tory Lanez and his people have been going around to the media spreading lies and misinformation to try to make her look as if she somehow incited this violence and deserved this violence against her.
Stop fucking lying on me. Stop fucking acting like black women is the motherfucking problem.
It gets back to a conversation you and I have had privately 1,000 times. The lack of support for black women, especially if we are showing that someone within our community hurt us. If a black man has hurt us
Translation.
and we have the nerve to actually speak to how we've been hurt, we're immediately branded a traitor. We're
A snitch.
A snitch in this case. I'm like, how you gonna snitch when you're the victim of the crime, right? It's not like her and Tory were doing a burglary together and she told on Tory Lanez. He shot her.
What did Malcolm X say?
The black woman is the most disrespected woman in America. And I think that's the part of the ladder of the hierarchy in America that black men don't understand. They still have male privilege, okay? We're at the bottom because we have to ultimately battle both race and sexism. And it's hurtful that in our own community, we can't talk about the misogyny that we face from other Black men.
Because we're afraid and we don't want the backlash. We can find countless incidents where Black women over the years have decided to protect someone else and be hurt. My feeling is this, Jay. It's time for them as in Black men, step up and protect us. Stop pitting us against one another. Stop having social media fights where they see two Black people, man and woman, fighting one another. It's disgusting, quite frankly.
More than anything, I need Black men to check other Black men.
And how many times do you know as a woman you have to answer for a Black man or a man's actions?
All the time.
Every day, all day.
All the time.
How many times will somebody ask Kamala Harris about what Joe Biden did? That's not her job.
Right.
But it will be.
Let's hope.
Anyway.
With Meg the Stallion, in her case, think about this, Cari. You've been shot by somebody, and she said that she didn't want to name him to the police.
Because they were killing Black people and Black men left
What does
and
that
right.
say about Meg the
She
Stallion's
had the wherewithal when she was shot to say, guess what? I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want the police to actually come after Tory. Let me lie. She had the wherewithal in that traumatic moment to do that. There's so many levels of trauma here and so much damage done to this young lady. I want everybody to call her a snitch to get the fuck out of here. Everybody who's calling her a snitch, get the fuck out of here.
You know, I said on this show that I get paid to talk shit.
Do you?
Right? This person
I'm tired of being humble.
And you tired of being humble, and I get paid to talk shit. Our next guest coming up after the break definitely gets paid to talk shit. NBA TNT analyst Charles Barkley up next on Stick to Sports.
Shirley Chisholm just said do it for the kids. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stick to Sports with Cari and Jay and Cari. So our next guest is someone who doesn't really need an introduction because Jay has said he loves to
talk shit.
If the Portland Trail Blazers win tonight, they're going to sweep the Lakers.
Sweep?
Oh, stop it. I'm telling you.
What you got tonight?
They go sweep the Lakers.
Oh, what you got tonight, Jay?
If they win tonight, they're going to win the series. But this is a must-win for the Lakers.
I know you're socially distant, but can you see what's in this cup? Inside the NBA comes your way next.
Sweep? He said it's sweep. He said it's a sweep.
Obviously, you're in the sports world and NBA commentary. NBA owners have moved away from using the word owners. I believe they call them governors now. So was the term owners, was that racist?
No, not at all. I thought that whole conversation was stupid. Listen, if you own something, you own it. We're trying to be too politically correct in society today, but I don't think owners think they own players. So I thought that was just a waste of time and energy.
Chuck, I got to push back on that because you know. Sometimes you know how you do.
Tell that to Donald Sterling.
You know how you do, Chuck. Donald Sterling thought he owned them players.
He definitely did.
But are you trying to tell me you don't believe that word gives the quote-unquote governors now, former owners, power over the players in terms of I am your boss, you do what I say?
Hey, Cari, let's be honest. Donald Sterling was just a bad guy. He actually thought like that. But listen, you don't think these governors know they own the NBA teams? I mean, come on now. We got to stop worrying. That's one thing we got to do as Black people. We got to stop worrying about semantics. It's kind of like when we spend all our time worrying about statues and things like that. We need police reform, we need education reform, and we need economic opportunity. I think we got to be very specific about what we're fighting for, because I think we need allies. And I think the one thing we got to be really careful of is alienating people we need.
Chuck, no one's even arguing that. I think that's great in the sense that, yes, we need their help. But I have to ask you this. Can you explain the idea of we needing help and not that they, being the white people, should get on board with what is happening in terms of a systematic history of racism in this country?
Yeah, we've always had systematic racism. But the one thing I think we have to be careful of is white shaming. What I mean by that is, most of these white people out here today had nothing to do with systematic racism. None of them were born when all this crap started. We know about slavery. We know about redlining. but we can't make white people feel bad because they had nothing to do with it.
Everybody doesn't know about redlining. I mean, I think we mistake how much they actually have learned about our history and the history of racism in this country. So how do you invite them in, but keep it real with them at the same time?
The thing I try to tell my friends who are white, I said, listen, man, I'm not talking about me, Karl Malone, Jemele and Cari and Magic Johnson. How do we treat poor black people?
Chuck, people come to you and ask for your advice on major platforms to talk about race, to talk about what's happening in society, and also obviously to give your opinion on sports. And oftentimes, as a black man, you have been accused of not supporting the black community.
There's no excuse for those people to be out there burning down people's business, burning up police cars. That serves no purpose. That's like them jack who are looting. Those aren't real black people. Those are scumbags.
My track record speaks for itself. I've done more. I feel great what I've done for the black community, going to continue to do. It's exhausting being black, Cari. You know that.
Yeah, listen. We tired, Chuck.
Right?
We all tired.
Preacher, choir.
Yeah, preach to the choir.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, because it's so stressful. I tell people, like in a 3-week period, we had Ahmaud Arbery killed for jogging. You know, they got to come to the black folks, the famous blacks, to talk about it. 2 weeks later, you got your girl screaming at old boy who's a bird watcher up in New York.
An African-American man, I am in Central Park.
And then 2 weeks later, you got George Floyd. And you got to talk about it. They never go ask Tom Brady white stuff.
I would love to know what you think white stuff.
What is white stuff, Chuck?
Stuff?
You know, I need a day off.
You need a day off from being black, Chuck?
You want to take a break?
I need a day off because this stuff happens all the time.
Fair.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us on Stick to Sports and doing anything but that, because that's what you do.
All right.
And you definitely know that you have a big, huge place in our hearts, and we appreciate you. We consider you a friend. Thanks for coming on.
Love you, Chuck.
Love you, Chuck.
Hey, listen, I'm so proud of you two strong, beautiful black women. Y'all got a great platform. And the rest of the world going to see what I've known for years.
Aww.
Y'all are beautiful and talented. And good luck with the show. I got one question for y'all, though.
Ooh, okay.
How did y'all decide whose name was going to be first?
Ah, Chuck, your ego. Don't start. Don't start. C comes before J.
I'm just asking a question.
C comes before J in the alphabet. That's how we
Exactly.
decided. That's all real simple.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
You know what, Charles?
Love you, ladies.
I love you. Bye,
Chuck. That's your friend.
That's your friend. Talk about that's the stupidest thing he ever heard. I love him. Speaking of smart, we'll be back in just a few moments.
All right, we didn't actually get into this part with Chuck there, but it's been a bit of a tough week for the NBA because we've all been forced to remember. Cari, had you asked me when this happened, would this not be the biggest sports story of the year, the biggest story of the year, period, I would have said Kobe Bryant's unfortunate death would have been number one, but obviously the country has been through a whole lot since then. But nevertheless, his 42nd birthday just passed. 8/24 was Monday, which is known as Mamba Day. This has been Mamba Week, essentially. As someone, lifelong Laker fan, who grew up watching Kobe Bryant mature and bring the city so much joy, what has it felt like for you?
It's interesting you say that. For me, as a lifelong Laker fan, I think that we really haven't had time to mourn. The world turned us upside down with the pandemic and then obviously the social unrest. And Kobe's death is just a reminder of how sad this year has been. I haven't gotten to the point where I can talk about Kobe without feeling sad because he was a friend to me and a part of my family. To me, like, this is why I'm in sports. Like, we love what we do, right? I don't think it'll ever make sense, and it still hurts. But I'm glad that we have an opportunity to honor him.
I guess making the turn from mourning to celebration.
Yeah.
It's been tougher than I expected.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in this profession long enough, we've lived long enough where we've seen a lot of famous people die. But he is very much just baked into the DNA of Los Angeles. And I told people immediately after this happened, I've never seen a city mourn like this for anybody.
Yeah.
And even still, I'm watching this bubble, watching all these games, and I can't tell you how many times I thought about how much Kobe, if he were in the bubble, how much he would have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
not under these
right,
circumstances,
but he
like,
would have thrived.
He would have thrived. Basketball all the time, are you kidding?
I think that we're seeing so much of his influence. Kobe really touched a lot of people that we wouldn't know about, and he had so many relationships with different people. You've interviewed him, you've talked to him, you guys had a relationship. It was really interesting for somebody who was so huge and larger than life. He went out of his way to have personal relationships with certain people, and he was very encouraging. The last time I got to interview him was in August of last year. He was working on something for obviously sports for kids and women, and girls specifically because of Gigi, and that was the last time we had a good conversation. And I am so grateful for these opportunities, the times we got to meet him and hang out with him. And we just wanted to just honor Kobe and say we miss you, we love you, and thank you for all you've done for the sport, and you truly are a legend.
Well, well said, and I understand why that pain still feels fresh. You know, like you said, it feels like there was no proper time to mourn for anybody. And hopefully at some point, things will change to where we can remember Kobe, and maybe it won't make us cry. It'll make us smile, thinking about all his contributions to basketball and just all the things that he did throughout his career, the creative he was becoming right before our eyes.
The second chapter.
Yeah, the second chapter of his life. It really was quite amazing. But let's turn the page to next week, Cari, where we have another really big Laker fan who will be on the show. Ice Cube will join us, but not to talk about the Lakers, but to talk about his contract with Black America. Ice Cube has always been on one when it comes to social and political issues, but he's in a new space now. He is not messing around.
He's unapologetic, and I think that we're ready for it. He was ahead of his time, as many would say, like you, because you've been reading.
And that's always a dangerous thing. Cari mentioned during the show I was in the bubble of trouble. I'm going to explain next week how this tweet about me reading a great book got me back in the bubble.